Hi friends! Today is Thursday, May 9th, and it is 4:37 p.m. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the CNN article that was published on Monday by Sandy Lamotte. Shout out to Sandy. Thank you very much for your article. It is so appreciated. And I've been getting a lot of emails about the article. Actually, people asking me if I've seen it because it's exactly what I've been saying for over a year. And it's crazy that it took the CNN article for anybody to, well, actually, for a lot of people to kind of open their eyes to it, which is really interesting. And also shows me that I definitely framed it. I mean, all right, I'm a very passionate person, right? And I love the corals. And the large effects have been most broadly proven in corals, as well as the fact that without corals we lose everything. So it's the most vital part of our ecosystem, and they're dying forever because of oxybenzone. So it's the most pressing threat right now. However, it does impact everyone and everything. And this includes being shown in numerous vertebrates, invertebrates, fish species, mammals, all marine species show these same effects. And I will take you to our little oxybenzone layer here soon to show you what I'm talking about. However, first I want to talk about that CNN article and digest it a little bit. And I highlighted some things and broke it down a little bit because that's what I do. And so we have some notes and everything because Sandy did such an incredible job. She did such an incredible job and laid it out so clearly, so succinct. It was, I mean, this article is just pristine journalism. I mean, absolutely. And I mean, I read it and I was like, Sandy is the woman. She has got it. So I wanted to send her an email thanking her for her incredible article. And couldn't find her email. And so, but I found her on Facebook. And so I wrote her a super long Facebook message. And so if by any chance Sandy ever sees this video, then hello, that's me. And thank you so much. I love you and appreciate you very much. And shout out to you. You should be recognized because you've done a huge, great, and courageous thing. So, you rock. But this video, or this article starts with a video, and I just typed out the transcript to it because, I mean, actually a lot of it is just written. but so this is what it looks like, right? This is the article. Sunscreen enters bloodstream after just 1 day of use, study says. Sunscreen enters bloodstream after just 1 day of use, study says. I'm sorry. I said it really poorly the first time. So, ba-bam, ba-bam, yeah. However, huge distinction between chemical and mineral sunscreens. So this is a huge thing as a precursor to everything that I think across the market, if this were emphasized more, it would solve a lot of problems and a lot of concerns for people, because right now we're just grouping sunscreens into one category and just saying sunscreens, like sunscreen this, sunscreen that. You should always use sunscreen. Maybe sunscreen is bad. And we keep just saying sunscreen, sunscreen in the broad sense of the term. However, sunscreens are very, very different. And what's going on right now is really showing people how different they are. And there are two huge categories, which leads to one very, very easy way to know if you're choosing a safe sunscreen or one that could be harmful. Here it is. So instead of saying just sunscreen, you should always be saying mineral sunscreen or physical. Those two terms can be used interchangeably. And so mineral sunscreens are safe. They've been used for, I don't want to say forever, but they've been used for, zinc oxide paste has been used for like hundreds of years. And I'm not going to talk more about this because I don't know my numbers precisely on all of these, but put it this way, the chemicals were obviously invented to absorb UV, and the minerals are natural things that have been always safe. And then, on the other hand, we have our chemical sunscreens. And chemical sunscreens work by absorbing the UV radiation. And actually, this, my printer ran out of ink, I'm sorry, but this graphic here, I can show you. So this graphic here, I think describes it pretty well, which obviously it will because it's created by the American Academy of Dermatology. But here it shows that the physical or mineral sunscreens, they work as a shield, whereas the chemical sunscreens work as a sponge. I think that's a very good way to differentiate them and remember that. And then it says, opt for this sunscreen if you have sensitive skin. And then for the chemical sunscreens, it says this formulation tends to be easier to rub into the skin without leaving a white residue, which generally this has been the large reason for people's aversion to mineral sunscreens, is because historically they have led you to have white, like a layer of white because of the zinc on your skin. And most people didn't want to appear pasty all the time, so that's why chemical sunscreens became so popular. But this could bring me to the point that, again, the FDA created the regulations not knowing that people were going to be using sunscreen every day. They thought it was just for vacations. So times have changed and things are very different now, and sunscreens are being used differently, which means that the safety of them needs to be reevaluated due to the extremely high levels of sunscreen being used by people, particularly those containing oxybenzone, which is absorbed 50 to 100 times faster than other sunscreens. Over a 10-year study, it was shown that 70% of people reacted positively to patch tests with oxybenzone, and so it's rapidly absorbed into the body. We can go over there and I can show you my diagrams that I created. But the point is differentiating between those two. So instead of saying you should always use sunscreen, you should say you should use a mineral sunscreen in addition to other appropriate sun protection measures. And instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm worried that sunscreens are bad, so I'm not going to use sunscreens anymore, say, oh, I'm worried that maybe some chemical sunscreens are bad, so I won't use those anymore, but mineral sunscreens are good and I need to protect myself. So actually the best way to protect yourself is UPF clothing. UPF clothing is the best way to protect yourself because you're guaranteed to be covered. Furthermore, you're not contaminating the environment with sunscreens, many of which will have these chemicals. And actually, about 68% of sunscreens contain oxybenzone in the US. And it's wild. And in 1990, there were already 1 million plus pounds being imported in or manufactured into the US every single year. Over 1 million pounds of oxybenzone. And think about that, because it's not like this just goes into the sunscreens and then goes on your skin and disappears. It goes into your skin, it's immediately absorbed, and within 20 minutes it can be detected in your urine. And now, as the CNN article shows, also in your blood, but furthermore, it's the most rapidly absorbed chemical. Its molecular weight is 220, I keep wanting to say 6.8, but I think it's 228, maybe it's 226.8. We'll have to go to the other room to verify that. But that makes it more rapidly absorbed and higher rates of reactivity, which is a way bigger issue for children and infants who are much more sensitive to it, and also their absorption rates can be much quicker. So oxybenzone is really, really bad, and studies have been coming out about this for decades. And so when people say, oh, we need more research, we need more studies, every single study has been verifying all of this for decades. Every single study that studies this, they all come to the same conclusion. And it's been studied across various species in all over the world and in different waters in the labs, and they all come back pointing to oxybenzone being not only an endocrine disruptor, but also being rapidly absorbed and having potentially negative consequences. And anybody who's read these studies knows how bad it really is. It's just about the issue of the majority of the biggest sunscreen companies in America having this in the majority of their products, their best sellers. Because oxybenzone is so stable and it works really well. It's a UVA absorber too, and it goes on clear, and it works well. Super inexpensive, and it stabilizes avobenzone too, which is the other only, or the UVA only chemical absorber, and it's super unstable, so you need something to stabilize it. And so those two together work really well, which are actually what Neutrogena's Helioplex is. All it is just the maximums of avobenzone plus oxybenzone, which is 3% plus 6%. So 3% avobenzone plus 6% oxybenzone equals Helioplex. And that's all it is. And interestingly, when we were just in Hawaii, we were talking to the store manager about Sunscreens and how they were reacting to the ban. And he said, and we actually did notice this, that most companies had already reformulated. And, you know, like Banana Boat and Coppertone, they all had eliminated them, and or at least come out with versions, and they say like now reef safe, you know, for their sunscreens. And he said, yeah, but I don't know about Neutrogena, man. I mean, they're the worst. Like, they have everything is chemicals, and I don't know about them and how long it'll be for them. And I was just like, I was shocked that he knew about that, and that he knew Neutrogena as being a notoriously chemical-laden company and very heavy in the use of these chemicals that are potentially harmful. That was very, very interesting. I apologize that this has already become a 18-minute video with me not yet even addressing the CNN article totally, but I promise you we will now. I'm just gonna get a sip of tea, but it's really hot, so I might have to get water. Pretty hot, but it's good. And as a side note, yes, I know that, and I've really been realizing that really the best and most effective thing that I could do would be to record like a short 5-minute video, just quickly like explaining what's going on and what the facts are, and quickly laying out the key points. And yes, I will try to do that, but this is just the type of person that I am, and I delve really, really deep into things and like to fully comprehend things, and then also help others to learn them, because it is super complex and super confusing, and a lot of people could be very confused, especially with companies trying to still defend the use of some companies still trying to defend the use of these ingredients or cling to the use of these ingredients. And the point is, it's like they put these ingredients in most of their sunscreens, and you know, we can hope and we can assume that they didn't know. They didn't know how harmful that they were, you know? And so, like, everybody can forgive them. We could say no harm, no foul, you know, but it's like, okay, a lot of harm was done, but it can be totally forgiven as long as we do something about it, you know? And nobody would be so upset if these companies just said, you know what, yeah, this is happening. Like, it's bad. We didn't know about it. We're really sorry, but we're working really hard to fix it. And we're working really hard to not have any of these chemicals in our sunscreens anymore because we recognize how bad this is. And as a bonus, in fact, you know, maybe they could donate some money to coral research or helping to actually repair the damage that they've done to the ecosystem. But then also to human beings, which human beings are more concerned about oftentimes. But I mean, think of how much more effective and how much more positive gain would result out of, for everybody, like, maximum utility on this, to just say, we were wrong, this is bad, and we're taking it out, and work with the FDA, which they're doing, but, you know, work with them to bring these European filters, chemical filters, which are so much more effective, into the US for them to use. And it's a huge opportunity for them to say, all right, now there's a loss in the market because, or that there's a loss in the range of protection that chemical sunscreens can now offer because of the need to take out oxybenzone, which is such a popular chemical. And so we need to be able to bring these European filters in so that the people can have more selection in their chemical sunscreens if they want them to be totally clear, which is another thing that we can address with the whole applications of sunscreens and everything. But the other really important fact is that now mineral sunscreens can be made fairly clear because we have micronized zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. So instead of just having that huge paste shield on your skin that's going to be white because it's the full particles, now you can break the particles up to make them a little bit smaller, and so they spread more easily. And then also combined with the other ingredients that you have in there, the other active and inactive ingredients, then you get your sunscreen, which could go on a lot smoother. And another really important point is that clear zinc, when people say clear zinc, 99% of the time, that means zinc mixed with chemicals. Like, clear zinc does not exist. Like, zinc is not clear. Zinc cannot be clear. It is impossible for zinc to be clear. So the only way that somebody can say clear zinc is if they have zinc plus chemicals that will make the zinc spread out and go away a little bit more. But the zinc is always going to be white. So you cannot have clear zinc. That's not a thing. That does not exist. And it's just created by adding chemicals which help to make it more clear. But at the end of the day, zinc provides the best and completely adequate protection. It provides broad spectrum protection. So zinc is all that you really need. It's just about how clear you want it to be and how much cosmetic elegance you want. So, and then that all depends on the formulation. All right, so that was a nice little prelude. I hope you guys learned some things. I'm sorry if this takes up a lot of your time, but just trying to help. So, the article. I think I'll read the transcript of the video first. So I played the video in yesterday's video, but I don't want to play it again just in case there is like some copyright issues or whatever. So I'm just going to read what was like written, because they didn't really say much, but all right. So Key West, Florida, Hawaii, and the country of Palau are trying to protect coral reefs. They are banning certain chemicals in sunscreen starting in 2021. John Foth, Associate Professor of Biology, University of Central Florida, says, in the areas where you've got a lot of these chemical sunscreens going into the water, those corals aren't going to come back. And the reason that is because oxybenzone causes a permanent death to where they cannot recover. So normally when they're affected by other stressors, coral can recover and the zooxanthellae can return. But in the cases of oxybenzone, because it just wreaks havoc on the entire system, they are just gone forever. And there's no reproduction, there's heavy death, no recruitment, and the entire ecosystem is wiped out. Which we can get into with the coral postcards. So maybe we should do a video on these so that we can explain this in a super fun way. Oh, but I actually have them taped to the side of my desk, so I can show you that because then they're all laid out. Here we go. So these here are the coral postcards. Pretty cool, huh? Taped to the side of my desk. Coral is built by tiny, soft-bodied animals called polyps. Maybe I should just put these pictures in the video so you can actually read them. And the thing is, it